Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Listen, I'm glad to have you guys here on this Monday, the 7th of June, 2021. Thank you for tuning in. Now, listen, you know what? I was watching a program on YouTube the other day, and it was looking at the aerospace industry and how they measure thrust. You know, I always thought that they calibrated thrust on these rocket engines and on these jet engines and stuff by just doing estimations of the amount of thrust. You know, I didn't know they actually had a machine to actually measure it. And what really blew my mind away was they got this big pendulum device. Well, let's get started. Let's open up the charts right here, and let's take a look at this. You know, when they get a big rocket ship blasting off, you know, to the moon, you get rocket propulsion and stuff. It puts out millions of pounds of thrust, you know, like, or maybe up to 1,000,000 pounds of thrust. They got this big pendulum device. It's like a giant pendulum that hangs in the ground in a tunnel that goes down into the earth. And they got these weights that they suspend on the pendulum. And each weight weighs 50,000 pounds. They got 20 of these weights, and the weights look like giant barbells. That's what they look like. They look like the barbells they use in the gym that they slide on the bar. It's a very similar process, except these are like each one's like a foot thick. These giant barbell rings, you know, and they got the tolerance down. Now get this. They got the tolerance down to 1,000,000 pounds. They come within 5 pounds of the actual weight on 1,000,000 pounds. And this is how they measure thrust in these rockets and stuff. Now, you know, I got to hand it to the Chinese and their ingenuity. The Chinese have built a wind tunnel that is capable of Mach 30 wind speed. You know, that's 21,000 miles per hour. Here's a picture of the wind tunnel, you know. I didn't think that they could make air move that fast. I'll give you an example of how fast it is. If that wind tunnel was actually running, and the wind was flowing through that tunnel, and if they had a little hole in the side of the tunnel, and you stuck the tip of your finger in there, in that little hole, and that wind was moving 21,000 miles an hour, you would just have a sore on the end of your finger. There wouldn't be anything left to the end of your finger. They'd have to put a bandage on it. That's how fast that wind's moving. I never thought that they could make wind move that fast. But this is actually the perfect thing for testing hypersonic aerodynamic designs. And that's a feat in engineering, to make air move at Mach 30, 21,000 miles an hour. Let's take a look in the markets today and see what's going on. And we're seeing the silver price shoot up. 27.86. It's starting to move to the upside again. They're not going to be able to suppress the price of gold and silver. And will Basel III go through? Well, we're going to have to wait and see. But really, it would. There's two parts to. I think that the part that's going to go through is the part that allows gold to become, and silver to be, not silver, but I always say silver and gold, but allows gold to become a tier 1 asset. I think that part's going to go through because it wouldn't upset the apple cart that much, you know. Then there's the other part that would upset the apple cart, and I have my doubts whether that might go through or not. That part that would upset the apple cart. I don't think they want to upset the apple cart, you know. But I think the gold becoming a tier 1 asset is very probable that will go through, and that should have a positive effect on the price of gold and silver. But we're seeing silver today go to the upside, 27.86 for silver today. Now we're going to take a look at gold. Gold is at 18.92. It's up 50 cents on the day so far, but it's reaching the high end of its range, and that's what I'm noticing. I think it's getting ready for a breakout to the upside. Cryptocurrency is starting to heat up a little bit again. We're at 1,600 and something, 1,685, I guess, billions. And we're looking at a Bitcoin price of 35,949, so almost 36,000. But you know, it's not Bitcoin that I'm keeping my eye on so much. I'm keeping my eye on some of these other coins, you know. Not Ethereum, not Tether, not Binance. I'm keeping my eye on Cardano, ADA. You know, it has a new technology called sharding. And you know, Bitcoin, what happens is all the transactions from the past, present, and future, they store them on the blockchain. And the blockchain keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger with more data and more data on it. Cardano uses sharding, and sharding is able to stop that from happening. You know, and in fact, the bigger the network gets with Cardano, the less problems they're going to have. It's capable like 10,000 transactions per second. Cardano really looks good in there, you know, and there's a few other coins that really look good to me. One of the coins that really looks good to me is, well, it's Cardano. I'm also keeping my eye on Theta. Theta looks really good. And of course, you know, these coins that look good, they're moving. Theta's moving to the upside today, you know. We're going to take a look now at Monero. Keeping my eye on that coin too. And, you know, it's another one. It's going up. These are the coins that are going to the upside. Monero. Uh, Another coin I'm keeping my eye on here is Hedera Hashgraph. It's down here a long ways on the list, and really probably it shouldn't be. Hedera Hashgraph is probably right now undervalued in the cryptocurrency space, you know, because it's at 51, you know, and it probably should be up here in the top coins, you know, with a higher price tag on it. So those are some of the coins I'm keeping my eye on today. Let's take a look now at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And we're down by 85 points on the day so far, or 0.25% at 34,670. I told you guys a while ago, I think these markets have topped. They're at the brim right now, you know. It's like a cup that's overflowing, ready to overflow. And so right now, it's probably, if you're looking to make quick gains in the stock market and stuff, you're going to have to wait to further expansion of the monetary supply, especially in the terms of fiscal stimulus. More fiscal stimulus is probably required in order to get these markets to start to move higher. And will they have more fiscal stimulus? Well, we're going to have to wait and see. But, you know, they can't stop popping the money out there. Otherwise, everything's going to crash. The bubbles are overinflated. They're ready to crash. And if they start to crash, then they will pop more money in there. They will create new, I call it money, but it's actually fiat currency units. It's actually worthless paper. It's not even paper anymore. They make it out of polymer. And so you can't use it to light your stove with or anything, you know, because polymer's no good for anything, really. But that's fiat currency. It's only moneyed by decree. And we're reaching the end of an age. This is the end of the fiat currency era. Fiat currency is going to go. Nobody will ever trust it again when this is over, when this situation ends that we're in right now. And it's slowly disintegrating. Well, not so slowly. It's speeding up, disintegrating in value. And it'll never be used on Earth again, fiat currencies. This is the end of an era. And Jim Rickards wrote in his book, The Death of Money, he was actually talking about fiat currencies. They're in a race to the bottom right now, too. You know, countries are devaluing their fiat currencies in order to get a better handle on trade, you know. Okay, so we're going to move on here, and we're going to take a look at oil prices today. Down 29 cents, almost up to the $70 mark, $69.33 today so far. Move index. This is the first substantial drop we've seen in a while in the move index. It's down to 49.78. It's down 4.18 points, or 7.75%. 7% move in the move index is quite a big, substantial drop. Bonds and rates today, we're looking at bond yields climbing, but only marginally. We're looking at a U.S. 10-year at 1.57. You don't get really to the danger point until the U.S. 10-year crosses 1.75. And you don't really run into real problems in the financial system until it gets at 2.25. Those are the marks to watch for in the U.S. 10-year, you know. U.S. 30-year is 2.24. Of all these bonds right here, the U.S. 10-year is the most important and the one to watch the most is the U.S. 10-year. So at 1.569 right now in the U.S. 10-year, and that's not that bad, you know, not going to cause any real problems at that level. But I expect it to creep up toward the end of this year, trying to push to 2%. And once it gets up around 2% or a little bit over 2%, then it starts to cause problems. You know, to normalize interest rates, especially on the long end of the yield curve, right now you would need, and to stem off inflation right now, you'd probably need higher than 7% U.S. 10-year right now. It would have to be more than 7%. And they cannot go there. They cannot let interest rates go that high anymore. They've lost that tool to effectively fight inflation, so there's no real way that they can fight inflation now. Let's take a look now at the U.S. dollar index, and we see the dollar descending today, 89.98, and it's moving down right now as the day progresses, so we might see a little bit more of a bounce in gold and silver as this dollar starts to move down on the DXY. Okay, guys, that's our show for today. Thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the very next show. Bye-bye.